Hello and welcome to Tech Bytes from Teachers First. This is Karen Streeter, and in today's video segment we're going to learn how to create a 3D pop-out effect on images in Microsoft PowerPoint. This effect will allow us to add interest and dimension to our presentation images. Let's get started. Before I demonstrate the steps, I want to quickly run through a series of completed 3D pop-out effect images. I think seeing sampled finished products will help orient you for when we begin stepping through the creation process. Here's an example of a herd of elephants where the top portion of the elephants have been popped out of the picture frame. As you can see in each of the next 6 slides, a portion of the image appears to be popping out of the base image. This design trick adds dimension and fun to traditional slides. The success of this effect, or trick as some folks call it, hinges upon the image you choose. There are 3 things you need to be mindful of when choosing your image. First, the image you choose needs to have contrast. You need to make sure that the color of the image stands out from the background. Second, the popped out portion of your image needs to have sharp, clean edges. And finally, you need to make sure that the area of the image you want to pop is complete, that it doesn't have anything hidden, for example, a missing foot or part of a head. So once you've selected a good image, the rest is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Make a copy of the image. 2. Frame that photograph or image and crop it to a shape. And 3. Remove the background from the duplicate image, then drag that duplicate back over the image to pop your picture. Now let's just do it. What you see on the screen is my puffin, and I've already duplicated the puffin image. My goal for this picture is to have the top half of the puffin pop out of the image frame. So the first thing I need to do is select the original image and put a frame around it. I usually use the simple white frame. You need the Picture Tools format menu, so I'm going to double click the image and it's going to automatically activate that format menu. In the center of the format menu under Picture Styles on the far left, you see my choice, which is simple white frame. I like that. That's what I'm going to go with. So the next thing I need to do to this image is I need to actually crop it to a shape. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to go up to my crop menu and I'm going to crop it to a shape. In the basic shapes menu, the 5th from the left is the trapezoid. That's the shape that many people use when they do this effect. I also use the parallelogram and the oval. We'll see that later. So here I have clicked on the trapezoid and I have cropped my image to the trapezoid. This yellow dot in the top center, I can grab that handle, and if I wanted to, I could move it in and out and change a little bit of the angle on that trapezoid shape, but I'm going to leave it because I like the default. So I'm happy with that. So the next thing I need to do is actually crop this shape down to the frame that I want my puffin to pop out of. So I'm going to go back to the crop menu, choose crop, get my crop handles. I'm going to drag the handle down to just a little bit below half on that puffin. And so what you see of the puffin that's in that gray area is what's actually going to be popping out of the frame. I like that, so I'm going to go ahead and left click off of it, and there is the base frame. So now I'm ready to use my duplicate image. So I'm going to double click on it and activate that Picture Tools format menu. And in the far left on the top, I'm going to click Remove Background. Now when you click Remove Background, everything that's going to be removed from the picture shows up in this deep purplish or this dark fuchsia color. So as you can see, this is a very clean background removal. It's one of the reasons I chose this image. I think it represents what we talked about in the beginning in terms of good contrast and good clean lines. One thing that may happen, I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these marquee handles on this marquee box. I'm going to drag it down a little bit. You notice how even within this marquee box, some of this puffin has turned purple. If you end up, when you remove the background, if you have part of one of your shapes that you want to have pop out, falls in with this purple, what you need to do is go up to this background removal menu in the upper left hand corner, and you would actually click on Mark Areas to Keep, and when it changes to the pencil, you'd move it back over and click on these areas to bring them back in. But let me move this handle back up, since we know that we get this great clean image. We're just going to use it the way that it comes right out of the chute here. And now that I like that, I'm just going to go ahead and say keep changes. So here is my puffin. And so of course the last of our third steps is just to drag the background removed image on top of your original image. And sometimes you have to increase the size of your canvas. This is a pretty clean thing. Sometimes you need to increase with the bottom right menu down here. You need to increase that canvas size so that you can match it up closely when you bring it over. But this looks pretty good. Let me show you in presentation view. I like that. The last thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to group your two images together so that when you move them around the screen. So what I'm doing is holding my control key down, clicking on both of them. I right click and I say group, and that way I can move them around. I could use this rotation handle on the top if I want to without separating them. The last thing you can do is you can go up here to the shape effects menu, and you could put some rotation or some reflection or some shadow. I'm going to go to shadow, and I'm going to go down to perspective, and I'm going to choose this lower right perspective option because it looks like this top then of the puffin is casting this shadow down on the side. The other thing I like to play with is manual rotation, which is on the very bottom of your rotation menu. And I'm just going to change this Z rotation a little bit, and then now I have what I want as a look for my puffin. So now let's take a look at another image that's not as clean when the background is removed. Here we have an extended hand holding an apple. What we want to do is make it look like the hand is reaching out from the page. So let's crop the image to a parallelogram this time and reshape it. So first I'm going to double click and bring up that picture tool menu, put the simple white frame, go up to my crop menu, crop to the shape parallelogram, which is the fourth from the left. And then I'm going to go back up to crop again. And what I'm going to do is crop this shape down to just below where the pad of the thumb is on the apple. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to click it off, and now I'm ready to work with my duplicate image. So again, my picture tools menu is already engaged. So I'm going to go up to the left and choose remove background. And you'll notice here that I've got some of this arm that I'm not going to want on the top because it's the top half of the apple and the thumb that I'm popping out. So what I need to do is I need to get rid of that. So the first thing I'm going to try is to move these marquee handles to see if I can get a lot of that to take off from the background. There we go. So I got a lot of that gone, but I'm thinking that some of this thumb right up here may have moved with it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit to make sure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Mark Areas to Keep. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to click right around this thumb, and you'll see that part of that thumb is coming back on there, and just a little bit also down along the edge of the thumb here. Now if I do too much more, I'm going to start bringing back part of this arm that's behind. But that's the process that you would do. You would either mark areas to remove if you had some that were showing that you didn't want, or you would mark areas to keep. Those are the tools that you use to actually get the final shape you want. Now that I have what I want, I'm just going to slide over here and say keep changes, and let's zoom back out, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to go over here and see if I can't get it pretty close. and click off of it, and there you have it. Let me go ahead and show you. So now it looks like that hand with that thumb or that apple is popping out of that picture. That's kind of fun. Let's look at a couple of other examples. Here you see this alpaca. This is very subtle. You see just his mouth and nose is popping off the picture. It doesn't have to be a big piece in order for it to be effective. And then also on this one, you'll see that the monsters that are in the back of the line from the bottom up is what's been removed, and they look like they're walking in to go to vote. They're walking into the frame. And then lastly, we have an image that's been cropped to an oval. And one of the things that's great about this image, again, is the contrast, which has that green background and that beautiful blue frog, which made it real easy to remove the background. So image is key in this particular effect. Well, that's it for today's TechBytes tutorial. I hope to see you next time. Happy designing. Join us again soon for another great TechBytes video tutorial from Teachers First.